And now, the news. And this week, Lamborghini euthanizes its next bull, Aston Martin euthanizes its workforce, and Bugatti makes the poor feel even poorer. I did all of that and I didn't press record. That's great. Okay. Let's take this from the top then. Lamborghini has pulled the plug on EVs. They've had a two-door EV in development called the Lanzador, but their chief executive, Stefan Winkelmann, cancelled the project in secret late last year, with the main reason being that the customer base just isn't interested in a fully electric Lamborghini. It was made clear to them through research conducted among their customers, whose average age now sits in the 30s to 40s range, and we're all now depressed, that people want vehicles with more theatre, so the noise, the looks, the excitement. These people aren't interested in having cars that they can't show off, because the whole point of a Lamborghini is to be flashy and out there. It acts as a status symbol, particularly amongst the younger generation, and an electric Lamborghini just doesn't scratch that itch. They haven't shut the door completely though, saying instead that when the time is right they will produce one, but it risks becoming an expensive hobby for the company, given the current lack of interest. Winkelmann also did note that the Lanzador would be replaced by a plug-in hybrid vehicle, but we don't know if that will be a completely different vehicle or the Lanzador as a hybrid. This said, it would be a shame to throw away such a beautiful vehicle because of a drivetrain change. Personally though, I think this is a really smart move for them. It's not an outright rejection, given we all know we're going to end up with EVs as the primary mode of transport eventually. But it is refreshing to see someone use their head and not just blindly dive into EV production when it's been made very clear that there isn't a market among the customers. It also aligns with a larger trend of new EVs being postponed or cancelled. In recent times, we've seen Genesis Magma brand, which is like their hot version, considering dropping pure EV, which was the initial plan, and instead move to hybrid models. The base Nissan Leaf in America has been put on hold indefinitely, and Mazda have said that as far as possible, they don't want to have even a hybrid MX-5, with their preference being an internal combustion engine running on synthetic fuels. Then there's the wider effect, with US government policy changes contributing to losses of $20 billion for Ford, $26 billion for Stellantis, and $6 billion for GM, all because they're scrapping EV plans after already investing heavily in the technology. The EV market will keep growing, but it seems the hard left approach rather than a gradual transition was very much the wrong one. I just hope that the UK learns that lesson and scraps their 2030 plans. And it is also good to see a company like Lamborghini, especially given they're owned by the VW Group, stand up and say, we don't think this is the right move for us right now. And that time I was recording. Aston Martin has confirmed it will be axing 20% of its workforce, with the firm's net losses jumping 52% to nearly £500 million. The company has been struggling for several years and has blamed US tariffs in part for this decision. They claimed that these job cuts will save around £40 million annually, and didn't give an explicit date for the job cuts, but did indicate that most of it would be executed this year. They've also noted extremely subdued demand in China, meaning that two of the biggest markets for Aston Martin have resulted in poor sales, contributing to their current struggles. Beyond that, they had a 5-year capital spending plan that was supposed to cost them £2 billion, but they've now dropped it to £1.7 billion by delaying investment in electric vehicle technology. I have to say, this makes me quite sad, because even though I'm not overly thrilled with the high-level management team at Aston Martin or their relatives, I do feel like Aston Martin themselves have done a pretty good job over the last few years in making interesting, fun, and good vehicles that traditionally you would expect to sell really well. So it does hurt to see this, because if it seems like a company is doing everything right and is still failing, where do they go to next? If two of the biggest markets are losing interest in your product, how do you then expand enough into other territories to make up for that or at least reduce the hit? I don't know what they can do, but I really do hope that they successfully navigate these issues, because they've always made gorgeous cars, and while I doubt that the brand would ever cease to exist completely, it'd be sad to lose such a mainstay in both British and performance car heritage. Bugatti's Sur Mesure customization division has released another one-off version of the Mistral called the La Perle Rare. While a vehicle that features both a light interior and exterior might not work for everyone, the design of this car looks absolutely gorgeous. It's powered by the standard 8-litre W16 engine, which may seem like a bit of an oversight, but let's be honest here, the purpose of this car is barely even to be driven, let alone to serve as a performance upgrade on the existing Mistral. Beyond the delicious paint job, the vehicle features many intricate details, such as its name written under the wing. It also incorporates the dancing elephant image originally sculpted by Rembrandt Bugatti, Ettores' younger brother. This motif is used throughout the car, including on the seatbacks and as an actual sculpture built into the gear selector. Not to leave a job half done on a car that undoubtedly costs far more than the Mistral's $5 million asking price, the wheels have also received the gold and white treatment to complete the look. Like all sur-mesure vehicles, this car was created over the course of several years, having first been pitched by its now owner on the perfect lawns of the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance in 2023. The team at Bugatti ensured every minor detail aligned perfectly with the customer's specific vision of a one-off Mistral. Enjoy the images of this car, because realistically, few people will even see it parked in a garage, let alone on the open road. As mentioned, the car is part of Bugatti's sur-mesure offering, which stands for "damn, it feels good to have money," and creates bespoke versions of their existing models for customers who feel that existing Bugattis aren't already special enough. Other notable versions from this program include these two versions of the Chiron Supersport and Pure Sport, another Chiron Supersport showing off some serious graphics and sporting the name Golden Era, and yet another Supersport that captures the spirit of Jean Bugatti's Type 55 Supersport from the 1930s. For those looking for a reaction to this car, my take is very simple. Some vehicles speak so clearly for themselves that commenting on them only takes away from the statement that they make just by existing. Polestar are going on what they've called the largest model offensive in their history, aiming to release 4 cars in 3 years. Fighting across multiple fronts will see the following vehicles hit the road. Polestar 5, a 4-door GT car that'll start deliveries in the second half of this year. A new variant of the Polestar 4 which seems like it's going to be some form of estate or SUV. The next generation of the Polestar 2, a car we've all seen on the road and one of their best-selling vehicles. And the Polestar 7, a compact SUV that they've made clear is being aimed at a market that makes up a third of EVs as of 2025. Their words. Lastly, they'll also be looking to develop their BST sub-brand further. BST is the performance division, so we can expect faster versions of the Polestar 2, 3, and 4, with their stated goal to compete with the likes of BMW M and Mercedes-AMG. That's big talk, given in my opinion those brands serve very different markets to Polestar. It's all good and well to make a statistically faster vehicle, but electric sports cars just aren't good sellers. There's a good reason BMW and Mercedes haven't dropped their existing lineups for EVs all in the name of performance, because nobody doubts that EVs are quicker. But I think some companies realize that a performance car isn't just about being the fastest, and other companies like Polestar are going to have to learn that lesson the hard way. The point I'm trying to make here is these cars don't need to compete. And I think it's a little bit immature to treat companies making a different kind of car as the enemy when you serve an entirely different kind of customer.
What's your name? What? What's your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony!
I mean, for all you know, the customer might be content with having your EV alongside the petrol-powered car, but now by creating an us versus them mentality, you're almost asking them to choose. And most petrol heads will choose feeling over figures every day of the week. The MG Cyberster is a contradiction on wheels, because even though it's a sports car, it's morbidly obese. Upon first look, the car itself is a toned and very pretty vehicle that makes you wonder if all the weight is muscle instead of fat, because it's a fully electric roadster with a 0 to 100 time of 3.2 seconds. But the claimed top speed is only 200 kilometers an hour and the car weighs 2 tons. I don't think I've ever seen a car with more confusing specs. This though has not gone ignored within MG, with the Vice President of Global Design, Joseph Caban, mentioning in an exclusive interview with Auto Express that they want to create an Ozempic version of the car. Basically what they want to do is put the car on a diet while still maintaining all of the positives. The plan with the car going forward is a coupe version, but more importantly, a lightweight version. Now, what lightweight means in terms of an electric sports car is anyone's guess, but given that Alpine's upcoming A110 EV will weigh in at around 1.5 tons, we could probably expect something similar. While the brand itself is not a volume seller, and on top of that EV sports cars are even more niche given people who are in the market for a sports car are typically looking for one with a bit more noise and theatre, a car that's now considered a capable cruiser could, with a few less sweet and sour chicken balls, end up becoming a significant part of the EV sports car breakthrough, assuming that's even possible to begin with. Volvo's EX30 is propping up the recall segment this week, attempting to fight the Ford Transit for the Death Trap of the Year award. The first issue is that insufficient welding on the seat back may give you some back-breaking performance in the event of a crash, assuming you're driving in the 2025 version of this vehicle. But don't worry, that's only if you manage to crash it before the battery pack catches fire, because over 40,000 EX30s are being recalled for this exact issue. The automaker known for safety is contacting owners already, and plans to replace the battery pack with a new one. Until then, they recommend you park your mobile electric fire away from buildings and don't charge to more than 70%. Not to be outdone though, Ford are making sure we don't forget their quality issues. They're recalling nearly 4.4 million vehicles due to an issue with the integrated trailer module that can affect the trailer lights and brakes. A nice wide band ensures that the F-150, F-250, E-Transit, there it is, Expedition, Maverick, Ranger, and Lincoln Navigator are all affected, with each vehicle being produced at various points between 2020 and 2026. This is the second trailer module related issue in a month, with Chrysler vehicles reporting the same outcomes on some of their vehicles a few weeks back. And just to make sure Ford don't get all the American attention, GM are recalling 44,000 SUVs from 2022, owing to the rear wheels locking up. There's an issue with the 10-speed auto transmission, whereby it could leak fluid and cause at best rough gear changes, but at worst a full lockup. Affected vehicles are the Chevy Tahoe, GMC Yukon and Yukon XL, as well as the Escalade and the Escalade ESV. Lastly, we go on to another weekly recall sub-segment, Airbag Go Bang Bang. This week we have the following vehicles, and it's the same reasons as always. Gas buildup make big boom, bad fitment make bad boom, lack of pressure make no boom. Here's the list. BMW 5 Series and X5 produced from November 1998 to December 2003. BMW 3 Series from November 1998 to August 2006. BMW 1 Series, 3 Series, X1 and X3 produced from July 2010 to June 2015. And lastly, Chrysler Pacifica or Voyager produced from May 2022 to November 2024. Get your airbags fixed before they end up fixing your face. And that is the end of the news.